Hello, my name is Jeremy Lopez, and I am currently the pastor of Salem United Church of Christ in Tonawanda, New York. I have been the pastor at Salem Church for the past 13 years. And Salem Church is a medium-sized congregation with a 168-year history in Tonawanda. And Tonawanda is a suburb north of Buffalo. As the pastor of Salem Church, I am responsible for leading weekly worship, including preaching, and presiding over weddings, baptisms, funerals, providing pastoral care and counseling, visiting the sick, those who are confined to home, or those in nursing homes or assisted living facilities. I also teach confirmation classes. I work with our youth group. I participate in children's programming. I attend the adult Bible studies, and I participate in fellowship groups. I'm also involved in church administration, and I provide guidance and day-to-day leadership of the church as an institution while reporting to the church council, who oversees everything. Ever since I was a young child, I had always felt called to ministry. I was raised in a religious family, and my grandfather, the person who has had the greatest influence on me, was a missionary on the native reservations in Arizona. And I spent a great deal of time with him, and I watched him engage in personal pastoral ministry among people. And I knew that that was what I was called to live out my faith as well. I'd grown up in the Assemblies of God tradition, and throughout my whole childhood, I spent more time at church than anywhere else. I was at church on Sunday morning and Sunday night, and then on Wednesday night for family night and Friday night for youth group. All of my closest friends were my church friends, and my pastor had a transformative influence on my faith development. For college, I attended Southwestern Assemblies of God University, and I pursued a bachelor's degree in pastoral ministries with the intention of being ordained in the Assemblies of God and seeking a call to a church. However, during my time of study, I began to struggle with my inherited faith, and I felt that due to my evolving theology, I was no longer destined to serve in a church. So I began to focus instead on pursuing a call to teaching religion and theology. And after college, I enrolled at Fuller Theological Seminary with that goal in mind. During my time at Fuller, I was introduced to the world of the mainline Christian church, where I began to reimagine my future in ministry. And after a time of prayer and discernment, I began to attend a United Church of Christ church, located about a mile from the church in which I grew up. And I found a home in the UCC, a home for my faith, a place where I could live into my calling as a minister of the gospel. So I completed my studies under the care of the UCC, and I received my Master of Divinity degree from Fuller. And within 6 months, I moved to Tonawanda to begin my ministry. Now, one more point I will address here. I found the UCC to be my church home because I found there people from diverse backgrounds, an expansive theology, and a religious practice that was focused on service and justice, and an inclusive community of believers. And although I no longer felt that I could be a part of the tradition in which I was raised, I found in the UCC a place where I could live out the religious values that were instilled in me since I was a child, which are to love others and to love God, and to help people to see how God is at work in their lives and in the world around them. And that is the core of my faith and my approach to ministry. Now, I had always felt drawn to military service, but I always had believed that my calling was limited to the institutional church. In fact, when I was at my final year at Bible college, I went to a military recruiting office to inquire about enlisting. And at that time, I had hoped that I could serve my country and then move into my career in ministry. I knew nothing at that time of the chaplain candidacy program, and nor did I consider military chaplaincy to be my calling at that time. So I made the decision instead to go to seminary rather than to enlist. Now fast forward, and during my 5th year of ministry at Salem Church, I received a letter from the Air National Guard base in Niagara Falls, and it was asking clergy to come and learn about chaplaincy in the Air National Guard. So I did attend that meeting, and I was intrigued by the idea, and I even discussed it with my family and some of the leaders of my church. I considered the possibility of doing reserve duty and cutting back on my hours at Salem Church. However, at that time, the church was not open to that idea, and I had to choose to maintain my full-time career at Salem. Now fast forward again, and I thought that this opportunity was behind me due to my age. Then my brother-in-law, who had just retired as a colonel in the Air Force, urged me to consider this again because there is a need for chaplains, and the age limit had been raised. So as I began to learn more about this and pray and discern this possible calling with my family, it became more and more clear to me that God was leading me to pursue chaplaincy in the U.S. Air Force. And I believe that I can fully live into my vocation by providing spiritual support and religious guidance to the men and women of the U.S. Air Force on behalf of the United Church of Christ. And I am honored to be considered for this great opportunity and calling. Thank you.